G'day team, Jeremy Britton, 24-hour wealth coach, down in the park nearby the beach after my sunrise meditation. And today I've got an interview on doing a phone hookup with another coach, and I'll be speaking about dealing with fears and how to get through your fears to get to success. Obviously, if you've got a fear of the sight of blood, you're not going to make a very good surgeon, you're not going to get a job in a meatworks. And there may be other fears that are holding you back. Particularly with my clients, or wealth coaching clients, there's a lot of people who have a fear of failure. Obviously they don't want to try things just in case they fail, boo-hoo. And there's also clients who have a fear of success, which is, what if I succeed? What if I actually get the $1 million? Then I'm going to have greater responsibilities, boo-hoo. These fears sound silly, but they are very, very real for some people. And what you have to do is look at what fears are actually really real and what fears are you just imagining that are real. What fears are actually legitimate, like a fear of falling over, hitting your head, and what fears are just inherited from other people, because other people may have told you that having $1 million is a really tragic idea. Other people may have told you that being poor or failing is a really tragic idea. But a lot of other people may tell you that failure is a necessary part of success. So looking at ideas from different perspectives, looking at which fears are real and which fears are not real, can actually help you to create further success. A lot of people have inherited their fears from their parents, from society, even from their religious beliefs. When you actually get right into it, and it's interesting, coming from the Christian tradition, a lot of these fears are made up and not legitimate. For example, you can study the Bible all day long and I'll give you a shiny dollar if you can actually find the section of the Bible where it says that the devil is actually this guy. He's got horns coming out of his head, he's got goat feet, he's carrying a pitchfork. I'll give you $1 if you can find that section. I'll also give you $1 if you can find the section of the Bible where it says if you find someone who's carrying an upside down cross, you should burn them at the stake. That isn't actually in there. That's an invention made up by the early church, which has nothing to do with the Bible. If you go back, the first Christians, for the first 300, 500 years, they didn't even have the cross as a symbol. They actually had the fish as a symbol. You can often see the Christian fish symbol on the back of cars and things like that. At the time when they actually brought in the cross, there was other people around from a different religion who actually had the upside down cross as their symbol. It was going way, way back. Now, where this comes from, if you think of the ancient gods that were around before Jesus came along, there was actually Pan, who was the god of the forest and of the land, and he was the guy who had the goat legs and the little goat horns, and people worshipped him on the land. He was the god of the land and the forest. The pitchfork actually came from Poseidon, and if you've seen The Little Mermaid, you remember the guy with the trident. He had the pitchfork. That was Poseidon, the god of the sea. And of course the upside down cross was actually a hammer. That was Thor's hammer. And if you draw a hammer, if you actually store that sitting on your workbench, you put the heavy side down, you put the handle straight up. That was Thor's hammer, and he was the god of heaven, god of thunder. So that was the early church's reasoning for declaring other religions as pagan and evil. And pagan and evil are just labels, not necessarily true. Those religions weren't necessarily bad. People who are connected with heaven and connected with the earth and connected with the sea, they actually looked after their environment and they did a lot of good things. The early church declared them the outlaws, decided that they were against Jesus and his new religion, and so they had to go. A lot of these fears, a lot of these misconceptions are made up, not necessarily true, those ones not even in the Bible. They're just part of the cultural religious tradition that has been made up and believed for centuries without actually having any logical basis behind it. So a lot of these things, a lot of these fears, not so sensible. And yes, you might have more responsibilities if you've got an extra $1 million. Yes, it could be tragic to fail a few times on your way to success. But if you have a look at it, it's not necessarily such a bad thing. Talk to someone who's actually got $1 million. Find out what their fears are. See if they're as big as yours or if they're different to yours. Most people who talk to me and say, yes, I want to be super successful, but I have a fear of it, they haven't actually talked to someone who's gone through it. And once they do, then you can be reassured that a lot of those fears are not necessarily true, or at least not as bad as what you think they're going to be. I'll talk to you soon, down on the beach or at 24hourwealthcoach.com.